Welcome to Dr Joe Unplugged. This podcast contains general information and is not in any way medical advice. There is no medical treatment or intervention that works for everybody and is without potential side effects. That's the nature of medical interventions. Whether it's penicillin or aspirin, doesn't matter what, nothing is suitable for everybody in all circumstances. But more to the point, every medication has side effects. There are potential complications from every surgical procedure. Where are we going with this? All right, a lot of you have asked me to talk about the thing, so for those of you who normally watch this on YouTube, it'll probably won't appear, so I'd urge you to go to Spotify or a platform which actually allows people to speak the truth without breaching their so-called community standards. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Google. Depression, anxiety diagnoses have increased amongst young people, especially evident during the pandemic. Surprise, surprise, rates of anxiety and depression in a lot of people, and particularly in youth, skyrocketed. And we haven't seen the end of it yet. You put a 4-year-old and tell them they can't see their friend for a year, it's going to have a major impact on them. And this wasn't as bad in Australia, but in America, you put masks on 2-year-olds, you're going to have problems. And it doesn't go away overnight. And these are genuine harms and side effects. Now, if people want to argue that there were beneficial effects to some of these measures, I think that's being proven to be less and less of the case. Even Fauci has come out and said that 6 foot or 1.5 metres was basically made up. They didn't think people would come at 10 feet, which is effectively about 3 metres, and that, 1 foot wasn't enough, so they landed at 6. There's no science behind it. There's no science behind masks. There's no science behind lockdowns. There never was. But we know, and we're seeing it, and people warned about this, that there would be knock-on effects, and higher rates of mental health problems, including suicide, is one of those. Cancer, and so we'll put these articles, which are online, and they are from medical sites, and these are genuine research, which now people are allowed to talk about, even if Google doesn't like it. Cancer diagnoses slow to recover from effects of pandemic. So we know that a lot of people delayed going to doctors, some people couldn't get access, and so we saw delays in diagnosis. And there hasn't, and these figures only go to 2021 as yet, but I think we're going to see this again, that the rates haven't picked up, and those that are going to be diagnosed will be diagnosed later than they otherwise would have been. Now, maybe in some instances, it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make a difference for everybody, but there are going to be a significant number of people over the next 2 to 5 years, and we're already seeing this, where they may well be dying of cancers that could or might, in normal circumstances, have been picked up during 2020 or 2021, remembering that really it was only in early 2022 that a lot of parts of the world sort of basically admitted the truth and moved on. The UK, to their credit, in the middle of 2021, and I think some European countries also got the message a little bit sooner. But of course, we were told, believe the science, and we were told by people in charge of health departments and various chief officers, and this is again around the world, that all of these measures were really, really important. So you'd hope that they believed what they were telling us, that they were honest brokers. And as a consequence of that, you might expect that they would apply the same rules to themselves. And of course, you'd be wrong. And we've heard about the parties in the UK, and also California Governor Gavin Newsom eating at the French Laundry. But in September it came out, and look, I'm not a big fan of hidden footage, but sometimes it's just what needs to happen. Hidden camera footage revealed Dr. Jay Varma, New York City's public health official, bragging that he and his wife engaged in drug-fueled sex parties in the summer of 2020. At the height of COVID restrictions, he and up to 10 people gathered in a hotel room, used drugs. Varma said it wasn't, and this is from Vinay Prasad's Substack, and we'll put this in the description, it wasn't about penetrative sex, but company. Meanwhile, and I quote from Vinay Prasad, children were shut out of schools, elderly people died alone in hospitals, and Bill de Blasio, his old boss, shuts down funerals outdoors. Look, I'm not a moralist in this. How people want to live their lives, they're not hurting other people. And, I think the P. Diddy thing is a separate matter altogether. I think a lot of people have been hurt through that, from what I read. And I think it's fairly logical. But, if people get together, do their own thing, it's not my business. I'm not going to moralise on them. But when these people have, as Vinay Prasad says, they've advised banning outdoor funerals, and we know the number of people who died alone, and closing schools, and we've spoken before about the impacts on mental health, and the impact of closing schools is also going to impact potentially these children for the rest of their lives. And they're having parties, and it doesn't matter what they're doing at those parties, that they're having parties at all, and clearly if they're doing what is alleged that they're doing, and this is from the man himself, I think they're probably a little bit closer than 1.5 metres would be my guess. Could be wrong, but I think you can get what I'm talking about. And I don't think he's an orphan. We know that Niall Ferguson in the UK went and visited his girlfriend/lover whilst saying everybody else had to be locked down. And I'm not going to be exact as to whether it was inside or outside 5Ks, but it doesn't really matter. It just demonstrates that these people did not believe what they were saying. Where's the accountability? Where is the accountability? We've seen in Australia, premiers get awarded Orders of Australia for their services to whatever. People have suffered and have continued to suffer. And people who are asking questions, honest, decent, reasonable questions. We're not talking about conspiracy theories. We're just saying people are asking questions, were castigated and pilloried and shut down. Jay Bhattacharya, who was one of the co-authors of the Great Barrington Declaration, has described his experience. We know Alex Berenson was shut out of Twitter, and the Twitter files revealed the lengths that the Biden administration went to shut down any questioning of policy. Zuckerberg has come out publicly and said they were pressured to censor speech. We don't know everything. We never will know everything. The only way human existence advances is by questioning what we're currently doing. And we've seen through history what happened to Galileo, what happened to Ignaz Semmelweis. Anybody who questions the elites of the time and the prevailing regime is going to get into trouble. But we need to be questioning. And the questioners are being proved right. And those who thought they knew everything but didn't even believe what they said they knew are one by one getting exposed.
Thanks for listening to Dr. Joe Unplugged. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like and share. You can also follow it on all the socials. There'll be new content uploaded each week.